Hello, everybody. Uh-oh, is my mic on? Yes, it's on. Okay, let me know in the chat if you can hear me. Waiting to hear if everyone can hear me. Just, just let me know. Hi, guys. I don't like to start talking until I know that everybody can hear me. Grandma. All right. Hello, Helix. Hello, Mike. Hi, Jojo. Sandy. Grandma Barb, Terry, John. Everybody's here. Husband is here. Tarot Transformations is my husband, Joe. Hello, everyone. Thanks for coming. Oh, my goodness. How's everyone doing? Everyone good? Yeah. The holidays, am I right? Oh, my goodness, guys. Helix says she can't hear you because she's 65 years old. Oh my goodness, guys. Okay. It's been a long week. Long week. Why don't I press go live and then have a complete brain fart and not talk at all? That sounds like a good idea. All right. What are we doing today, guys? What are we doing? First and foremost, I hope everybody had happy holidays. We had same old here. I mean, I say that. I shouldn't say same old, same old. We had a beautiful holiday. It's just me and Joe and Mochi, our dog, and our cat, Junie. But we have a lovely, lovely time. We check in with family. We check in with friends. It was really, really nice. So very lovely, very blessed, and just very beautiful. I hope you guys had happy, safe, warm, lovely, delicious holidays. Now is that weird space in between Christmas and New Year's where you don't know what day it is and what your life is supposed to mean. But anyway, so Joe had, my whole life revolves around when my husband has days off because I work from home, but Joe has had Christmas Eve and Christmas Day off and then had Sunday and Monday off. So he's off today and then he's back to work. So he only had 2 days of work and then he was off again. So my head's just like, what day is it? I have no idea what's going on. What is it? Sunday? Is it Tuesday? It doesn't matter what day it is. We're just doing it. We're gonna have fun. All right, let me check in with the chat again, and then we're gonna talk about what we're gonna talk about today, which is all kinds of stuff. Let's see. Because she's 65 years old, says Helix. One of these days, I'll get the fancy thing where it actually lets me put up the chat on the screen, so I don't have to read it out loud. But I'm gonna Grandma Barb. I'm gonna Grandma Barb and read it out to you. John says, I can't complain. My wife won't listen, but I'm bunching. Grandma says, can you speak up? I'm 65 years old and can't hear good. It's 6 o'clock and I'm already sleepy, says Sandy. Hello, Candy, and everyone in the chat. Hello, Debbie. Thank you for being here. Mike says, put your bell tones in, Ancient Aliens. Mike. Oh my goodness, we're already getting started. We're already getting started, guys, with the silliness. Hi, Patty Myers. Helix, please don't choke on any more pepperoni. Hi, Tanya Kitchen Witch. Let's see. Jet Set JP. Yes, hello. I like it when someone is at high volume. Easy to turn it down, a little bit hard to keep having to turn it up. I agree. You can always adjust it if it's too loud, but if it's too low, it's like it's a little bit harder. So welcome, Jet Set JP, and welcome everybody. Okay, I think I am caught up. So what we're doing today is we're going to art chat a little bit. I'm going to show you some stuff that I have made in the past, and then I'm going to work on my big, beautiful spiritual Scrapghan. For those of you who are not in Grandma Barb's Grandma Crochet's Corner chat and don't know about this Scrapghan, I will tell you all about it when I pull it out. But first and foremost, because for people who don't know and for people who are watching this on a replay, my name is Candy. This is my channel, obviously, Candy Hearts Art. And mostly this is a art channel. I am a mixed media artist, which means that I use all different kinds of mediums to achieve the look that I'm going for in my work. I have worked in watercolor, colored pencils, oils, acrylics, all kinds of things. And I also love fiber art. So I love crocheting. I know how to knit. I don't love it as much as I love crochet. I know how to needlepoint. I can do all kinds of things. And so today I am talking a little bit about some of the past work I've done, art stuff. And then I'm going to be working on my blanket. And so basically, I make a lot of bigger, I've never made anything massive yet, like, you know, many, many feet wide and long, but I make bigger pieces, acrylic mixed media on canvas, something kind of like this. Let's see, can you guys see? This is my most recent piece. Sorry, this camera's in the way. I'm gonna need it later. I think I'm gonna need, yeah, I am gonna need it later. But this is one of my most recent pieces. So I make things like this. I love to paint animals. And this is a mixed media piece called Benediction. And I absolutely love it. So I make stuff like this, which is a little bit more, I don't know if I would call it serious, but it's a little bit more fine art oriented. And pieces like this, which I think this one is untitled. I don't think, sorry for that camera. I don't think I've ever named this one. I might have just called it Moon on the Water. And stuff like this. This one's called Autumn's Welcome. And again, sorry for that camera up top that's cutting off. This one's really cool because if you can see, I actually collected fall leaves and covered them in paint and printed them onto the background here. So this is called Autumn's Welcome because I like to think that this little chickadee is about to open his mouth and sing a little song that's going to welcome in the autumn. So that's kind of an example of my bigger fine art focus. But if you've been following me for a while and you know me at all, and hang on, let me move these out of the way so that I don't inadvertently kick them and ruin my life's work. So I'll be right back. You can hear me. I'm still mic'd up. I'm just putting these guys away because knowing my clumsy ass, I will kick right through these crows. And then you guys will have to watch me cry in the middle of my live stream. Nobody wants that. Okay, I'm back. I'm back. Did you miss me? Did you miss my face? All right. Oh, goodness. So that's some examples of my bigger acrylic pieces and mixed media pieces. However, today, if you know me, I also like to work on cutesy, kawaii illustrations. So today I want to show you, well, let me change the screen so you guys can actually see it. All right, make sure that's working properly. Sorry, just looking and making sure that this is switching properly. Okay, let me catch up with the chat real quick. All right, let's see. Sorry, just catching up with the chat. Jet Set JP says, I tat lace with the shuttle. I like handicraft, so I like watching you. Oh, thank you. Well, welcome, welcome. Sorry, using talk to text doesn't always work. I know talk to text is tricky business. No worries. Art chat and Kegels. Oh, Terry. Oh, no. Oh, God. Ancient Alien says, my daughter bought yarn today for me to make her a blanket now. Oh, better get busy on that blanket. What colors did you get? What are you going to do? What do you know what pattern you're going to do? I'm interested in this. Jet Set JP asked, what medium is that? So those paintings were mostly acrylic. Yeah, mostly acrylic for those ones. Cindy says, ooh, very pretty. Right, Simpson Johns, you're Cindy, correct? Ooh, very pretty. Thank you. Terry says, that's awesome, Candy. Thank you so much, Terry. Patty says, ooh, I love it. I love you, Patty. Thank you. Debbie says, beautiful. Thank you. It's weird. It's weird reading all these out loud. Like, you're great. And I'm reading them out loud. You guys, everyone's telling me how wonderful I am. Isn't it great? Anyway, I love it. Crows bring messages. They are spiritual, says Jet Set JP. Absolutely. I have another crow piece and they bring little treasures too. I have another crow piece called Treasure, where the crow brought a bunch of like bottle caps and little shiny things because they like to, if you feed them, they like to bring you treasures. I have yet to make a crow friend, but my husband and I are dying for crow friends. We have squirrel friends. We have squirrel friends. We're working towards crow friends. All right, everybody's just saying beautiful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Tanya. That was, Tanya says, in love with Kitchen Witch, 1885 says, in love with the crows and ravens, benediction. Thank you. That was a picture I found on a crow page, a crow page on Facebook, and I asked permission to paint it, and I just fell in love with the way they look like, how the crows are interacting, and I held on to it for like a year and a half, finally got around to painting it, and it really means a lot to me. It took me a while to get that one done, and it's really special. So I'm glad you guys like it. Yes, thank you, Jet Set. I love black cap chickadees as well. Jojo says cute. Did you draw then paint or just paint? I draw it first. I draw it onto the canvas and then paint onto it. Sometimes I'll go in just with paint and not draw first. It depends. It depends on how confident I am with the subject. If you were here when I was painting ornaments, I was just going in raw with those and not drawing first. Terry says, my grandma started painting in her 60s to Bob Ross. Never really grasped her interest in it back then, but now that I'm old, I do. Yeah. Bob Ross is awesome. And it's amazing to be able to put it all down on canvas. I highly recommend it, guys. Will crows ever be in the store? Crows will be in the store. Crows is for sale. I just haven't put it up in the store yet. I'm working on a website, guys. My store right now is very kind of bare bones store. And for my bigger pieces and stuff, I'm sort of waiting until I have a website that looks a little bit more professional to put it up. Crows, benediction will always will also be, there'll be prints of that as well. I'm working on that as well. That's all coming in the new year. Okay, good. Simpson Johns is Cindy. I'm so glad I got that right. Ancient Alien says green today. She's looking for another color, so the blanket will be green. Thank you, John, for calling for everyone to do a thumbs up. Nightbot is working. Sandy Black asked, do you have a favorite painting you've painted? That's hard because they're all for me, there's something about all of them. There's a reason why I painted all of them. So it's almost like, do you have a favorite child? I mean, yes, I do. Right now, benediction is probably my favorite, I think. I don't know if you were here last time I went live, I showed Hello Honey, which has a little bear cub. I really love that one too. I love something about all of them, but benediction, the crows that I just showed, is really, as I progress in my art journey, not to sound conceited, but I get better and better. I get more and more familiar with what I'm doing, and I start to release a lot more, and I start to care less about screwing up. So what you're seeing as the work that I'm producing now is my best because I care less about messing up. Does that make sense? Hi, Dawn. Welcome. Thank you so much. Dawn says, hi, Candy. Love your artwork. Oh my goodness. Oh wow, it says I have 16 in here. Ooh. Thank you so much, guys. Okay. So so that's my I've caught up with the chat, and that's my, you know, my fine art stuff. So as you know, many of you already know if you follow me, if you see my shorts, if you see the lunch notes for my husband's series that I make, and if you've never seen the lunch notes for my husband's series, check out my playlists, because there is a playlist in there, lunch notes for my husband. I am going to be actually working on a compilation video of those as well, but they're little, if you don't know what they are, they're little notes that I make. They're little business card size notes, and I put them in my husband's lunchbox a couple times a week to cheer him up on long days at work. And I make a bunch of ridiculous things. They're all in the other room right now, stuck to the wall, so I'm not going to go rip them down. But you know, little puns and things, you know, like little bugs, little ladybugs saying "You're my love bug," little snowmen hugging that say "I love you snow much." So just silly little things like that to make him smile, because he works in retail, and yeah, that's quite the vibe, retail. And I love him for it. He's doing hard work for us, but man, especially this time of year, retail can really suck. Hello, Erin. Thank you so much for being here. Booby goes Erin in the house. Okay, so as I was saying, I like to work on cutesy, kawaii. Kawaii, if you don't know what kawaii is, it's Kawaii, and that is the Japanese word for cute. And so kawaii, cutesy illustrations. So a couple years ago, a year and a half ago, what is time? What is time really? We'll say a while ago, I had the idea to make some cute sushi themed, Japanese food themed drawings, and painted them, and then I turned them into stickers. So I'm going to show you today that original artwork, and then show you the stickers that I made, because I thought that would be fun. Oh, Terry says I'm snuggling. I'm watching you on TV while snuggled in my electric blanket. That sounds so cozy. Mason, hello everyone, says Mason. Welcome in, Mason. Thank you for being here. So I'm just about to show the original artwork of Japanese and sushi themed art that I turned into stickers. So this is the original work. So this is the first one. And it is a bowl of miso soup with little bits of tofu and a salmon maki roll. So any sushi that's rolled is called maki, M-A-K-I, if you don't know. Although sushi is pretty mainstream right now, so you probably know that. But if you didn't, maybe Grandma Barb didn't know. If Grandma Barb is watching, I taught you something. So here's a little maki and miso, and I eventually turn it into stickers that say, "You maki me so happy," like you make me so happy. It's just too cute, guys. I don't know what to say. I love cuteness. And here's a bottle of soy sauce. And so I did all of these guys on the same page. It's dumplings. The dumplings went this way. It's dumplings. And I painted these on paper with acrylic paint. Sorry, I should have mentioned that. And then this way is the sushi. These are nigiri sushi. So the sushi with the bed of rice with the fish on, or ingredients, that's egg. On top is called nigiri or nigiri. And so I made these all on the same page because I was going to edit them in a photo editing afterwards and mix and match them to make different stickers. So I put them all on the same page because it was just easier to do that. But I did paint these all by hand. I don't know if you're able to see some of the detail, but if you look closer, you can see a lot of ricey texture in there. I miss sushi, guys. Many of my friends in the chat right now know that I'm on a low carb diet, working towards carnivore in a few days, and I miss sushi. But I could eat the raw fish. So this is not poop. It's not poop, Barb. I know what you're thinking. This is wasabi. This is a little blob of wasabi, which truth time, guys, I love wasabi. I don't know if you guys are into sushi. I don't know if you like wasabi, but I love wasabi. I always ask for extra wasabi. Joe looks at me like I'm crazy. If we go out to eat, I put too much wasabi on my sushi, and then I have a moment where I'm like, whoo, 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 and then I have to take sips of my drink and cough it out like that. And Grandma Barb says she knows me well. I can hear what you're thinking in my head, Barb. Um, so this is wasabi, and I call him wasabe, like babe. Hopefully you get it. And okay, so this is a salmon hand roll. You can tell by the color of the fish, it's salmon. That's a salmon hand roll, and a tuna maki. And they are super excited. And I turn this into stickers, you'll see in a minute, that say, "This is how I roll." And then this one, actually, there was a video for this one. I do have a video where I show the process of making this one, and I have a video where I show the process for making that one. So if you're interested, check it out in my videos. You can see the process of actually painting these. So this one, I think, was the first. Maki miso, the miso soup, and the maki roll was the first brainchild. And the way that you know that it was the first one is that I actually made a version like 2 years before I made the one I just showed you. So this version, it's kind of a little bit cuter, I don't know, than the one I just showed you. I mean, there's hearts and stuff, and it has the actual words. But that's the version that I turned into stickers because it was a little bit cleaner. But this is my bad tempura, like bad temper. And I came up with that pun, and I was just like, yep, this is my baby right here. This is my baby. So he's got little devil horns because he's a bad tempura. He's got a bad temper. And that was all so those are all the sushi drawings that I did. And then I wanted to show you, these ones I didn't turn into stickers, but these are some other cutesy things, like this cup of coffee saying I'm espressoing my feelings. And I think I did that with markers. I could be wrong about that. And sending you a latte love. And this one is my baby. This is Bready to Party. So my carnivore friends out there and carb addicts who are trying to stay off carbs are going to love this. But this was my bread party. And I love this drawing. I think I made a short about this, but I didn't make a long form video about it. But this was so friggin' fun to paint. And I actually painted 2 different versions of it. So there's another version I have, which I'm not going to dig out right now, but this one is super fun. So you can see the baguette. He's French because he's a baguette. So he's got his champagne. And the pretzel has his little party popper thing, and the white bread is got his little noisemaker thingy. Those are noisemakers, right? I don't know, whatever. The little thingy that you blow into and it rolls out and it goes dirt. And then the croissant is also French, but she's got a little red balloon, which, is actually, I didn't even think of this. That has extra meaning. There was an old French movie called The Red Balloon. You see the way my brain is doing things, guys, that I didn't even know? I didn't even know until this moment that I had done that. I'm a genius. Just kidding. Reel it in, Candy. Okay, so the croissant is got her little balloon, and then the bagel, he brought the chips, and he's also got a little noisemaker, and they are ready to party. And that's that artwork. So now I'm going to show you, let's catch up with the chat real quick, and then I will show you the stickers that I made out of that artwork. So let's see. Okay. Sorry, there's a lot here. Hang on. Catching up, catching up. I'm so glad you guys are all talking to each other. I'm not going to be able to read everything, I don't think, but I'm going to try to pick out the most important. I hope that I don't offend anybody if I didn't read your comment out loud. Cindy says, those are darling. My daughter would especially love these. Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. Yeah, I love these. I love my little sushis. Jet Set JP says, I'm trying to do keto, but I cheated when I went on my cruise, but I will get back on it. It's hard. It's hard in this carb-filled world. It's hard to stay on the track, but I believe in you. You can do it. Debbie says, you're crazy with that wasabi. I am. I am. And then Tanya says wasabi releases endorphins. It really does. Like I have a moment where I'm just like, ooh, I mean, hey, it's better than doing drugs, I guess. I mean, it is. Let's see. John says, I love wasabi, the way it cleans out my sinuses. That too. Mason says, hello to everyone. Nightbot is doing its job. Jet Set says, LOL, without my glasses, I thought the croissant was a dog with floppy ears. Either way, it's so cute. Thank you. I can see that too. No worries there. I can see that. The pretzel needs a beer. He does need a beer. You're right. Pretzels and beer are a thing. All right. Caught up with the chat. So let's take a look at these stickers, shall we? So made those, God knows how long ago I made those images, maybe we'll say about 2 years ago. And then last year I turned them into stickers. So these are about 3 or 4 inch vinyl stickers. They're really high quality. And here they are. Aren't they cute? I made them kind of big. I mean, you can tell that's kind of big for a sticker, but if you're putting it on a laptop or a large water bottle or something like that, or even your car, you could put these on a car because they're vinyl. I thought they were a good size. And since I added the words, I didn't want them to be too small. So you would be squinting like, what does that say? But so you might remember when I showed you the dumplings and the sushi, they were all on one page together. So I separated them. I put them with the soy sauce bottle and they are soy happy. And then here is I have a bad tempura. Ooh. Yeah, there's I have a bad tempura, which if I had a favorite, don't tell the other stickers, but if I had a favorite, it would be that one. And then wasabi. Wasabi is looking for love in all the wrong places, am I right? And then, so the little dumplings, this is for Barb. Hi, Erin Walsh. Walshy is my buddy Erin. So the dumplings, Japanese dumplings are sometimes called gyoza. So that's why it says we gyoza soy well together. You get it? I just love these little dumplings. I mean, I love them all, but look at the little dumplings. Also, I want dumplings. I actually had some. I had some on Christmas Eve, and I was very happy with them. And then I love sushi. Aren't they happy? You don't even want to eat them. They're so happy. I particularly like his little dollop of wasabi there. And then you maki me so happy, or you make me so happy. Miso soup is so delicious, guys. And then soy awesome. Have you guys ever seen the joke where it says, what if soy sauce is just telling you who they are in Spanish? Because when like you say in Spanish soy, you're saying I am. And so if you're saying soy awesome, you're saying I am awesome. And I am Puerto Rican and Panamanian. So that has a double meaning for me. So anyway, soy awesome. And then last but not least, the salmon hand roll and the tuna maki roll. This is how I roll. So all of these 8 stickers that I made from that original artwork, are my babies. I'm very proud of these. They're all available in my shop, and the shop link should be in my description. And if it's for some reason not in my description, it should be in my channel description. So that's my little cutesy body of work, guys. What do you think? I'm pretty proud of them. They're a nice quality sticker. And you know, when you have, it's so like satisfying to have an idea for something and then be able to get it all out of you. And I had this idea and I painted all of it, and then I made the stickers, and like when I got the stickers and held them in my hands, I was like, I did it. It was so exciting for me. So anyway, those are my sticker babies. Thanks for watching me gush over those. I haven't actually pulled them all out in a while, so it's nice to look at them again. And oh my goodness, holy wow. It says there's 21 people in here. That's a record for Candy Hearts Art Live. Welcome, 21 people. Don't be shy. Feel free to say hi if you haven't already. I'm going to catch up real quick with the chat, and then I'm going to pull out my crochet project. So Debbie says, I once mistakenly mixed up wasabi with guacamole. That is that's a hard lesson. Oh no, oh no. Because you would want to go in and get a nice chunk of guacamole, but wasabi, you want just a little bit of that, not so much. Let's see. Debbie says, I was not a happy camper. Debbie asks, how do you make the stickers? So I used a sticker company. I forget which company I used, but I don't have a sticker machine. And I have so much cat hair and pet hair in this house that it's hard. Like I watched a lot of sticker making videos. YouTube has a plethora of sticker making videos, but to make the vinyl stickers, you have to use like a clear vinyl sheet and put it over the sticker that you print out. And I was like, there's no way. As much as I try to keep it clean in here, there's no way I'm not making stickers with a bunch of cat hair in them. So I sent them out to be made, and I'm very happy with the results. Jet Set JP says, love your stickers. Thank you so much. I love the dumplings, says Debbie. Thank you. Tanya Kitchen Witch says, soy hungry. Sticker babies are so cute, says Sandy Blythe. Thank you. Cindy says, I need to go, but I'm so glad I was able to see what you've been creating, Candy. Love them. Thank you so much for stopping in, Cindy. Have a good one. Oh, and Patty says, I love the wasabi nuts. Me too, Patty. Me too. I once had, back when I was eating things like Doritos, I once had wasabi Doritos, and I only ever got them once. I got them in a Japanese snack box that like they get shipped to you. They're actually like from Japan, and they were the best friggin' things I've ever eaten in my life, the wasabi Doritos, and I've never found them anywhere else. And I would probably, I'm not really into Doritos these days just because of the whole, you know, all the stuff that's in them and not eating a lot of junk food. But if I found wasabi Doritos, I would make an exception because, oh, they were the stuff of dreams. They were legends. Okay, guys. So hello, Bon Bon. I guess I'm late, but better late than never. I'll rewind and watch from the beginning. Yeah, please do, or you could watch the beginning later. I just showed some cute sushi themed artwork that I've done over the years and turned into stickers. So let me know what you think about those when you watch that. So my next thing is I am probably, how long have I been on to already need a potty break? I might take a quick potty break. And then I'm going to come back and start crocheting. It'll be a very, very quick potty break, I promise. But before I go and relieve myself, I wanted to show you guys and tell you what crochet project I'm working on. So the story behind this crochet project, I've been crocheting off and on since I think I was like 5 or 7 years old. My mom, a friend from my mom my mom's friend from work taught her how to crochet. My mom made one blanket, a big ripple Afghan, and she never crocheted again. But I was always super crafty, and they taught me how to crochet, and I made a bunch of little projects off and on throughout my life, but I never made many blankets or anything. I really got into hat making like 20 years ago. I had a little Etsy shop. I made hats and stuffed animals, but never really any sweaters or Afghans. I made a few ponchos. And then I met Grandma's Crochet Corner, Grandma Barb, and started going into her live. And she crochets all night, and I started wanting to crochet again. And now I go on there on Saturdays and crochet with her at 9 p.m. Eastern. And I've started my own crochet projects. So because I was a big crocheter, I hadn't really been crocheting much over the years. Here and there, I would make a few things, but not much. Usually little stuffed animals more recently. So about 15 years ago, I met my husband, and I used to live with my aunt before then. And I moved out of my aunt's house and into with my husband 15 years ago. And I left some stuff behind at my aunt's house, and she is beautiful, wonderful lady. I love her so much. She's like a mother to me. And she wrote me a message the other day, and she said, I found a big box of yarn you left behind. And I said, what yarn? This yarn has to be 20 years old. What yarn could I possibly have left behind? I didn't think there was anything left at your house that I had left behind. And if I did leave anything else, I told you to donate it. So I'm surprised you still have it. She said, well, I have it. And she sent me a picture of all of this yarn. And she said, a huge box. And she said, I want to send it to you. And I said, if you want to send it, I'll take it, because I have just started crocheting again, and I certainly can use the yarn. So I got this big box of odds and ends, literally half skeins, little ends of skeins, like not even 50 stitches worth of yarn, and all kinds of stuff. Some of it was full skeins. And for people who don't crochet, a skein is like a ball of yarn that you get, if you go to the craft store, that big tube thing of yarn is a skein. So some of the things in the box were full skeins. So I went through the box. Some of it was fluffy eyelash cha-cha yarn, which, if you're not familiar with crocheting, is this really curly stuff, frizzy, fluffy stuff that's really hard to work with, that Candy in her 20s thought was super friggin' cool, and Candy in her 40s cannot friggin' deal with. So I put that in a little pile and I donated it. And the rest of it, I decided I was going to turn into a blanket. Now, I'm calling this blanket my big, beautiful, spiritual Scrapghan. And actually, I could have just gone back to this. There we go. My big, beautiful, spiritual Scrapghan. And part of why I'm calling it that is because it's a Scrapghan. Some people would think it was ugly. It's got a lot of different colors in it. I think it's beautiful, but it's going to have every color you can imagine in it. And some people might think that's ugly. So I'm purposefully calling it my big, beautiful spiritual Scrapghan. But why spiritual? Well, for those of you who don't know, I have had a long, tumultuous history with my mental health. Many difficult mental health diagnoses in my past, heavy issues, hospitalizations, medications, living huge chunks of my life just not wanting to be here anymore, and not knowing how to move forward, and not ever thinking that I would make it to 44, which is why I'm not afraid to tell everyone I'm 44, because I'm proud to be here. I didn't think I'd make it. So all of the yarn that was sent to me a few weeks ago from my aunt is yarn that 20-year-old Candy bought, or Candy in her 20s bought. Candy who was in and out of the hospital, Candy who was on medication, Candy who couldn't figure out how to get out of bed every morning. And some of this yarn saw some fantastic kickings of my ass, mostly done by myself, and saw me through the depths of my depression, saw some beautiful things too. I mean, just the ebbs and flows of life. So I decided to make a big, beautiful, spiritual ripple Afghan. The ripples are to signify or symbolize the ups and downs of my life. Thank you, Patty, for pointing that out to me. And then all of the different colors just sort of representing the chaos, but also the beauty of everything that I've been through. Turning all of that into something warm, comforting, that I can look at and physically hold, touch, feel, smell, wrap myself up in, and remember to never give up. Remember that you'll never know what tomorrow will bring, and to keep putting one foot in front of the other. So that's why this is my big, beautiful spiritual Afghan. And Scrapghan, Afghan made out of scraps. So I want to show you guys what I have made so far. I've had a good start. Hopefully you guys can see this. This is a new fancy thing for me, but I'm going to keep this up for a bit while I go take a potty break. But this is what I've got so far with my big, beautiful spiritual Scrapghan, and that's what I'm going to be working on today. Now, I had originally meant to make this Scrapghan about 55 inches wide. Accidentally effed around and made it 80 inches wide, but that's okay because my husband and I have we have a king size bed, and I want to be able to cuddle with my husband under this blanket. So making it super big means that we'll be able to wrap ourselves up in it. So I'm going to take a quick potty break. I'm going to leave this up on the screen so you guys can check out my stitches, and I will be right back. I have returned. Okay, make sure that my mic is working again properly. Just let me know in the chat that you're still hearing me. I have returned. Okay, so I don't know what it is about being live. I feel like normally I can just go hours and hours without having to need a potty break, but as soon as I go live, my body's like, hello, we would need a tinkle now. Who knows? Who knows what's going on? And of course, let's drink some electrolytes and get some more get some more in there. Why not? Gotta stay hydrated. Gotta stay hydrated. All right. While you're talking so much, you gotta wet the whistle, right? Gotta wet the whistle. All right. Wet the whistle. All these weird sayings, huh? You know, you ever come up with say some weird ass sayings? I say them all the time, and I'm just like, where the hell do I even get that from? Like, when did that become a part of my vocabulary, my repertoire, whatever you want to call it? Okie dokie. Catch up with the chat real quick, and then we're going to pull out this big, beautiful Scrapghan. Been on for about 45 minutes now. Cool. That's not bad. All right. Bon came in. Everyone said hi to Bon. Nightbot is doing its job. While she says, we love Auntie Angie. We do love Auntie Angie. However, I'm not speaking about Auntie Angie. I'm speaking about my titi, my auntie that lives in, well, she lives in West Roxbury. That's the one I used to live with. but we do love Auntie Angie. She might even be listening today. Who knows? I did send her the link. Jojo says, hee hee, I'm listening while starting on 2026 Christmas crafts. Good to start early, Jojo. Good for you. I'm proud of you. Painting everyone's favorite object with Santa hats. Oh no, the dragonfly, I need to rethink that one. Dragonfly with the Santa hat could be really cute. Sandy says, what a beautiful meaning though. Thank you. Thank you. I like symbolism. I try not to get too preachy with it, too, seem too like high on the high horse or whatever you want to call it. But there's so many symbols, and if we look around, and so much meaning in life, I think it's important to grasp onto it, because sometimes you can go through this life and start to feel like there is no meaning because everything is just kind of the same thing day in and day out. So why not try to find the meaning in even little things like scraps of yarn, right? Ancient Alien says, that's awesome. Thank you, Mike. Jet Set JP, love your story. They say when you're hurting to go help someone else. I hope that you know that your channel and your energy and your art is touching others in such a positive way. Thank you so much, Jet Set. Thank you so much. And Jojo says it's like a wave. Yep, that's a ripple blanket. And John says, I'm still here just eating supper, hamburger and sardines. I'm sure that's not surprising. No, it's not surprising, but super nourishing. All right, guys, says we still have 17 in here. I am shocked and thrilled, and I'm so glad that you're here with me. Now, some point in my life, I can't crochet with my glasses on, so here we go. And as you all know, I think I look, well, you might not know if you're new here, but I think I look cuter with my glasses on, but that's okay. We'll go glasses free. Anyway, at some point in my life, I'd like to see, I wonder if it would show me crocheting. Let's see. Let's do a test. Would it show me crocheting here a bit? I might do this for a little bit. The problem is, I don't know if that would work. You're not really going to see me. And it would, wow, that was an interesting kerfuffle of my tongue. Wow, what just happened there? What will happen is I will have to hold my hands at a weird angle in order to do this, but maybe I could do it a little bit. I probably should have brought my pillow in. Hey, Joe. He's got his headphones in. He can't hear me. Okay. Sorry, guys. Give me half a second. I'm going to go grab a pillow that I need to put on my lap to hold my arm, to hold my little arms up, because this blanket's getting heavy.
I need support.
I need support. Joe's making fun of me. Not making fun of me, but he's over here saying, I need support, because I do need support. I need support for my little arms. So I was hoping it would get here before my live and I could do an unboxing, but I ordered a crocheting pillow, which kind of just looks like a big nursing pillow that wraps around your body so it holds your arms up. So it holds your arms up because your arms get tired. So I don't know how long I will keep the overhead camera on, but let's do it for a minute in case you guys are interested in seeing how I crochet or how this stitch goes. It's kind of a crazy jumble here, but we're on the green now. Alrighty. Okay. Yeah, I appreciate all you guys being here. There's a lot more people here. I wonder if it has something to do with, well, maybe I'm getting more popular. Maybe YouTube is finally pushing out some of my content. But also, it's between holidays, so maybe maybe people have off. Maybe it's because I came on earlier. Sometimes no, I think I usually, no, sometimes I come on around 5, so I came on like an hour earlier. 1, 2. So maybe it has something to do with that. So if you're not a crocheter or you're you've never done a ripple, it's pretty much just you do some stitches and then you do 3 in one row, 1 stitch, and that gives you your peak here. So the first, when you turn this blank, when you turn your work and start the next row, you have to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 stitches. You do, you do 7. Count again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then you go into this one and you do 3 in that one. 1, 2, 3. And those 3 in that hole kind of all bunch together and they make the peak of your ripple. So you see how we got a little mountain there? That's how you get the top of your ripple. Hopefully that makes sense. I know I'm sort of over here. Sorry, that's kind of awkward. All right, let's pull some yarn out here. You ever have, for those of you who do crochet, you ever have a skein that's just like, it's like holding on to its yarn? You're like, can you please release your yarn? I would like to use it. Okay, so then the rest, it's only in the first few stitches that you do 7, and then you do that 3, that cluster of 3, and then you do 6. And then for the rest of it, it's just 6, and then the 3, and then you do a 3 decrease for the valley of the ripple. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this stitch is interesting. It is a 3, the next part is 3 DC together, and that's how you make the little valley. So this is interesting. This is a double crochet, so yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through. You've got 3 loops on the hook. You pull through 2, and then you still have 2 on the hook. Yarn over again, go into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through. You have 4 on the hook, pull through 2, now you have 3. And you go and do it again, yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull through. There's 5 on the hook, you pull through 2, and you have 4. And then you yarn over and pull through all 4 stitches. And that's your 3 double crochet together. And that makes the little valley. So guys, this is interesting because my last crochet project that I did live, my last live, I was crocheting a hat. I literally didn't have to think about it at all. This one I do have to count a little bit, and I am on Grandma Barb's crochet. Oops. Almost lost the camera there. But Grandma Barb fills in the silence a lot, so I apologize if I get quiet and I don't talk as much because I'm counting. I hope that this is still fun for you and you enjoy being here. All right, that's fine. Don't mess with that too much. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So does anybody have any plans for the New Year's? I don't do anything. I figure my time for going out on New Year's Eve is long past. I enjoy being home. But I know that some people have like family traditions. Some people will, you know, even if you're just hanging out and watching movies or something, I'd love to hear about it. Do you have any New Year's traditions? Do you eat something special? Do you go anywhere special? Oh, I could tell you about what my husband and I do. So we have, a few years ago, I think we're on our 3rd or 4th year now, Joe and I started, my husband's name is Joe, for those of you who don't know. Joe and I started a gratitude jar. So we keep a glass jar in our living room with a post-it pad, post-it note pad, sticky pad, and a pen. And we write gratitudes in it daily. We try to do it daily. Sometimes you forget. We just write something that we're grateful for. We write the date, and we try to do it as often as we can. And sometimes we forget. We try to especially remember to write a gratitude when we are feeling especially troubled, because it's in those times where you're feeling like nothing's going right that if you start looking for the gratitude, the things to be grateful for, you realize how truly blessed you are. So, wow, that one screwed up pretty bad. Um, so, um, start that again. Sorry. So we've been doing that for 3 or 4 years now, and we start on January 1st. So on January 1st, we will sit down together. He works New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, but on New Year's Day, we will sit down together. We will look through all of the past year's gratitudes. We will read every single one. And sometimes there's a lot. Sometimes I will put up like 10 gratitudes in a day. We will read every single one, and then we take them out back. We have a little charcoal grill, and we light them on fire, and we offer them up to the universe, offer them up to God, whatever you want to call it. And we kind of wipe the slate clean, but also just, offer it up into the all that energy, that good energy, up into the universe. And it's beautiful because we get to read through what we did all year. And it's kind of like a journal. It reminds us, oh, yeah, remember when we did that? Remember when we went to this thing? Remember when we saw that person? So I try to write down as much as I can to be grateful for. And if we've done something special, like we went to a couple of concerts this year, I make sure to write that down so that we remember that we did something. So it's really, really special. I really look forward to it. We'll be doing that on New Year's Day, and then we'll go out back and burn them, and then immediately when we come back in, we'll write new gratitudes to start the process all over again. So that's part of our New Year's tradition now, and I highly recommend it. You'd be surprised, guys, not to get preachy. I was never somebody that held a lot of gratitude in my heart. I had a chip on my shoulder. I, you know, I thought all of that positive thinking crap couldn't possibly work. And yeah, $1 million would work, but positive thinking, what does that do? And it actually helps. It actually helps when you change the way that you talk to yourself, the way that you look at the world, the way that you think about things. If you look at everything through the lens of being a victim and that there's nothing good to experience here, that's what you'll see. There's an author, and she's a sort of a self-help person, Brene Brown, who says, and I'm paraphrasing, this is not a direct quote, but she says something like, if you look around for confirmation that you're not supposed to be here, you will always find it. But if you look around for the beautiful things and confirmation that you're supposed to be here, you will also find that. It's what you focus on. It's what you look at. It's what you put your focus on. Other people will say, you ever have a friend, somebody tell you, I'm buying a red car, or, and suddenly all you can see is red cars. Or somebody tells you they're having a baby girl, and then suddenly all of a sudden you start to see everything for baby girls. It's because you're suddenly focused on those things. It's not just because suddenly there's more stuff for baby girls. It's because that's what you're focusing on. So if you're constantly focusing on how your life can go bad and how shitty things are, that's what happens. That's what you're focused on if you're never focused on good things. And I really started to look at how that works in my life. How many times did I have a beautiful day, like a fantastic, amazing day, but one bad thing happened and the whole day went to shit? Like, stop for a minute and think about how often that happens to you, because it's common. And you're not a bad person if it happens to you. It happens to all of us. This is a human thing. Human beings, we learn, oh, the fire's hot. I don't want to touch the fire. But then we imprint on, oh, the fire burned me. Now I'm burned, and we latch on to this sort of victimization. And rather than sort of learning the lesson in that and moving forward. So if you think about, how many times in your life have you had a pretty damn good day? You woke up, there's running water in your house, you were able to take a shower, you had coffee to drink. Yeah, you had to go to work, but at least you have a job, at least you have a way to subsist. Everything was fine. Maybe the birds were singing, maybe you went out on a walk and a dog that you really like came up to you and you patted him, and maybe you won $50 on a scratch ticket. Maybe somebody took you out to lunch, But then maybe one bad thing happens, one bad thing, anything. Maybe someone cuts you off. Maybe someone rear ends you. That's all you remember. All you remember is the bad thing that happened to you. You don't remember all the good things. And that whole day becomes a bad day because of one thing. So I realized that I had lived most of my life that way. And I started to make a conscious effort to shift out of that. And it's hard. It's not easy. I don't say that like, oh, just do it, guys. It's the easiest thing you'll ever friggin' do. No, it's a decision that you make every single day. It's a decision that you make every single day to choose love, to choose joy, to choose freedom of your heart over being imprisoned by grief and misery and regret and shame. And these are things that everybody, I think, stands to gain from if they learn. Not just people like me who were severely mentally ill and went through some really, really hard times, but all people, I think, struggle with these issues from time to time. So that's a little insight into how I look at things. I just like to share what's helped me. I don't like to get preachy or act like I have all the answers for things. I don't. I don't have all the answers. I don't know how to solve the world's problems. There's a lot of problems in the world. There's a lot of problems in the world. But there's a lot of good too. People like to, I think, maybe I'm talking too much. Maybe I should shut up. But people like to really, oh, us human beings are horrible and we're destroying the planet. Yeah, we are. But we also do amazing things, like create most of the stuff that you see around us. And, the ability to save lives, the ability to love, the ability to make art, all of these things. Humanity is beautiful as well as very ugly. There are two sides to every coin. And you can't know the light and see the light unless you experience darkness. And you would never know what a beautiful day looked like if you had never experienced a bad day. So as much as it sucks, sometimes it has to rain. Sometimes it has to be not all sunshines and daisies and roses. Sunshines and daisies and roses. Anywho, what do I know? Goodness, girl, she can chat and chat and chat, can't she? All right, let's check the, goodness gracious, 23 people in here. Thank you so much, guys. This is the most I've ever had in my live. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for being here. Goodness, there's a lot going on in the chat. I feel bad that I can't, I think it would be a lot if I sat here and tried to read it all. So I'm I'm going to just go through and make sure that I didn't miss anything. If I missed anything, if you wanted me to respond to something and I missed it, please just kindly type it again and have give me some grace, because it's hard to keep it all going, guys. I'm trying. Um, this is, again, the most I've ever had in here at one time, and this is really great. I'm not complaining. I'm very happy. Let's see. A lot of crocheters are doing lives New Year's Eve. Yep, I believe it. A lot of crochet lives on New Year's Eve. Joe is working New Year's Eve, but he'll be home. I'll probably crochet on New Year's Eve. I'll probably be on Grandma's live a bit. I don't know if I'll go on camera, but I'll probably be in there. But I don't know if I'll go live. But I had an idea to go live shortly after New Year's and maybe do a New Year's themed painting. I was going to do that today, but I did not have enough time to prepare. And I didn't want to do the whole painting on camera because it would have been a lot. Like, we would have been here for 5 hours. But I want to start the painting and pretty much like do part of it, like finish it up on camera. So I might do that sometime after the new year, maybe next Monday. Debbie says gratitude is an amazing thing. Oh, thank you, Dawn. Dawn says you help a lot, Candy, by sharing. Thank you so much. I'm so glad. Sandy says the humility to forgive is important. It is. And forgiveness is actually, it is about forgiving the other person, but it's also about forgiving yourself. A lot of people don't realize that, I think, but when you forgive the other person, you release yourself from the stress, the turmoil of being angry, and from feeling taken advantage of, And it doesn't mean that you forget. It doesn't mean that you're not wary and cautious of the fact that of what that person's capable of. But it helps, I think. Jet Set JP says they say your trials will introduce you to your strengths. Absolutely, absolutely. I have often said, when you go through a hard time, you meet yourself on the other side of that. That's when you truly meet yourself. Patty says, Candy, what inspires you with art? What inspires me to make art? Or what kind of art inspires me? What inspires me to make art? I've always been crafty. I've always loved art. So I can't not make art. And I've always been crafty. I've always been artsy. And there was a time in my life where I thought I wasn't a real artist. I was like, oh, I'm a crafter, but I'm not a real artist. And then I started learning how to paint, and I realized that was all in my head, that I was a real artist, and not just because I taught myself how to paint. I was always a real artist. But being an artist in a lot of ways is just having the audacity to put your art out there, to say, this is the way I see the world. Enjoy, and you notice a lot of artists out there just living completely unapologetically and just splashing paint around and making beautiful messes and just saying, this is who I am, enjoy it. And they're usually very successful. I think the most successful artists are the ones that say, I don't care if you like it. I'm making this and I like it, and I will find people who like it. My audience is out there, and I'm trying to become that artist. I'm trying not to be such a perfectionist and go, will people like this? Are people going to get this? And just make what I'm going to make and say, if they get it, they get it. If not, at least it came out of me. But what inspires me is I get so lost in it. When I'm painting, I've never experienced anything before I started. So I a few years ago started intermittent fasting, and I still struggle with some of my mental health stuff, but a lot of it diminished quite a bit. I suddenly had a quieting of all of that chaos that was always going on and that depression. And before that, nothing had really worked that way except when I was painting. When I would be in a painting, when I wasn't thinking about, am I doing it right? When I was confident about that I was doing it right, it would take me away from everything. And it's interesting. I don't know what it is about art that I love. It's just that I can't not. Like I it's weird. Like I love color. I love expression. I love knowing that I can create things with my hands that no one else can create. I think that's what's so special about art, is that every single one of us in this chat right now could sit down and look at the same flower and we will all draw that flower differently. Even if we're looking at the same exact picture, no two renderings of that flower will come out the same. And that's the beauty of art. A lot of people get it wrong, or I don't want to say get it wrong, but have a misconception that, it's photorealism that makes it, if as long as it looks exactly like the picture that they're looking at, or if it's highly recognizable or whatever. But you look at some abstract art that makes you feel amazing ways about things, and it's all over the place, and you're just like, what am I actually looking at? But you still love it. um and I think that's the power of art. That's what's so amazing about it, is that it can be anything, and it's all about how you feel. It's less about what you do and more about how you feel about it and how it makes others feel. And it's interesting to see the type of things that people will get offended by. There are people who get very offended by art. I have been really trying to, certain types of art, I've been really trying to just understand that there are all types that make a world. And, as long as it's not portraying anything like graphic abuse of somebody or whatever, then, and all of everybody involved was consenting, it's all good. um I was talking to my friend Patty the other day about a paper I had written once about the graffiti movement in New York in the 70s that came up around the hip hop, the beginning of hip hop. And, a lot of people look at graffiti and they're just like, well, that's horrible. A lot of it in inner city. I grew up in Boston. Inner city areas are just cuss words scrawled onto the back of the seat on the bus. And, how is that beautiful? And maybe it's not. Or, maybe it is human self-expression in its purest form. Maybe when you take somebody that doesn't feel like they have any other alternatives or any other outlets, they don't have any other positive influences, they are a rat in a maze in a big city, and they take out a pen and they write on a wall, or they write on a bench or something. Maybe that is the human creative spirit crying out, and maybe there's something beautiful in that. So for those who don't know, the hip hop movement and the graffiti movement coming out of New York in the 70s basically came up out of, there was a huge recession, and New York was especially broke. New York was in shambles, New York City. And most of the, everybody was very poor. There were people burning down tenement houses for the insurance money and leaving people homeless. And you've got a bunch of children growing up in all of this that had horrible school systems, not enough to eat, just a really bad situation. And they formed gangs, and they learned how to dance, and they learned how to make music by, making rhythms like tribal sounds, whether you like hip hop or not. I mean, that the the way that it came about is actually kind of impressive. And it came out of nothing, it came out of squalor. It came out of pain. And the graffiti movement is the same way. These kids got together and they made gangs and they started making art in dilapidated, abandoned subways and buildings. And yeah, they got into violent scrapes and they did things that, they got into drugs too, some of them, but a lot of them just created these gangs and made art and made music. And, I watched a few interviews with a few of these artists that are now adults. They're in their 60s and 70s, and living on the opposite coast, and they are prolific artists now because they started scrawling on subways in the 70s. So anyway, I don't even know what I'm rambling about, but I think it's beautiful that out of darkness and desperation, you can get, the human spirit will always find a way to create light and create hope. And I know a lot of people, I like rap music. I know a lot of people, it's not their cup of tea, but when you look at the origins of it and how it came about, it's kind of actually kind of profound. But, just like anything, just because it had good origins doesn't mean it's going in a great direction now. I know some of it is quite hard to stomach. I'm not much for the modern rap these days, but the older stuff I enjoy. Anyway, goodness, what am I rambling on about? Let's check on the chat again. Okay, good. Everybody is chatting. Yes. Everyone is chatting with each other, and that's lovely. And chatting with me. John says, people often get caught up in the comfort zone and they are afraid to get out of it. Yes, John. Yes, absolutely. A spiritual advisor told me once, if you're comfortable, you're in the wrong spot. Move out of it. We learn in discomfort. We do. We absolutely do. And we also live in a society saturated with the constant message that we are supposed to feel good and awesome and sublime at all times and never struggle, and makes us feel that struggle is abnormal, and that if you just buy another cookie or another car or another latte, that you won't struggle, that you'll be happy. And there's nothing that you can buy that pulls you out of being human. And it's those human trials and tribulations that show you who you truly are. Debbie says, John, I agree with that. You don't know how strong you are until you go through trials and tribulations. Yep. As someone who tends to be a perfectionist in some things, I have finally learned to let go and just enjoy. And that's awesome, Debbie. I'm so glad to hear that. John says, Debbie, everything I have ever let go of has claw marks on it. Yes. Yeah, the death grip, just never wanting to let it go. I hear you, John. Debbie says, I'm amazed at what the graffiti artist can paint with a can of spray paints. I know. Spray paint is not an easy medium. I've tried to use some in my mixed media work on my canvases to create texture and use it with stencils, and it drips. It clogs up a lot. Like, the fact that they can make it work the way it does is amazing to me. Like, crazy, crazy work. So of course I'm chatting a lot and I'm not crocheting as fast as I normally would, but that's okay. I am working. I am crocheting. And I am finding, I think, that this angle, because I am trying to hold it under this camera. So I think I'm gonna, after I finish this cluster of stitches, I'm gonna switch back to just the me cam and ditch the overhead cam and sit a little bit more comfortably so that I don't hurt myself. All right, just me cam. There we go. And what time is it? How long have I been on? Well, I think we'll stick around for another half hour or so. I've been on since 4. It's about 5:20 now. I think we'll stick around for another half hour or so. Call it a 2-hour live. That sounds about good, unless it completely drops off. But we still got, it says we still have 21 in here. One of those is me. I'm watching my own live stream on my phone. Oh, good. My yarn just tangled up in my zipper. Do you guys see this? And my little doodad's bag zipper. Oh, for crying out loud. Don't curse. Okay, I got Oh, there was almost some F-bombs. I was almost not very zen, guys. You almost saw some shit go down. I was like, oh no, what's happening here? Oh, okay. Well, let's get rid of this. We don't need this guy down here anymore. We can put him up there. Go. All right, where's my hook? So I tell you guys, the other day, I thought I was using a Susan Bates hook. And it turns out I'm using a boy hook, because usually I favor Susan Bates and I don't favor boy hooks. I don't know if this one is a little different, if it's different because it's got a handle. I feel like the tip is tapered a little bit more than the boy hooks tend to be. I don't know. Usually I don't favor a boy hook this way, but I looked down the other day while I was crocheting on Grandma Barb's live, and I was like, that's a boy hook. I thought it was a Bates. I thought it was a Susan Bates. How strange. Yeah, this thing is getting big. It's getting unwieldy. Lots of fun. Okay. So, guys. Sorry, I got really quiet for a minute. My husband's on the phone with his my husband speaks to his mom every week, and it's their time to talk on the phone. So I don't know if you can hear him talking in the background, but he's on the phone with his mother, and I got sucked into eavesdropping. That's not a good quality at all. And my Mochi is over here sleeping on the floor. He had a nice walkie with mommy and daddy earlier. And yeah, it's interesting trying to figure. I think I just have to be okay with letting some silent space happen. I think that's still hard for me, to just let there be silence, because I can't imagine anybody wanting to just sit here and watch me silently crochet. But I know people do it all the time. I guess this is a thing on YouTube. I guess this is a thing, and I'm just not hip to it. But I'm really enjoying making this blanket. I think I'm not getting bored with it, because I get to change the colors a lot. So with this big, beautiful spiritual Scrapghan, there was a few big skeins in here. And then I ended up making the darn thing so wide that I keep worrying about running out of yarn. So I actually went to, so this is the skein I'm working off right now. But then there's a bunch of other, this is a handful of like tiny bits that were also in this box. So I'm not getting bored with it, because you do one color, and then you switch off to another color, and then you switch off to another. But with this big skein, I'm going to have to tell myself, okay, you've done 4 or 5 rows, switch to another color now, because it's getting repetitive. And I'm trying to break up, because I have a big skein of this red and a big skein of this dark green, and then another lighter green that is not too dissimilar from this green. So I'm trying to make sure I break those up a lot with other colors, so that it's not just like massive chunk of red and green in the middle of my blanket. Like all of a sudden it was Christmas in the middle of the blanket. But yesterday I went to a thrift store here in northern Colorado called ARC, which back in Massachusetts. ARC is kind of like Savers, kind of like Goodwill too. Not kind of better than Goodwill. I don't know. I never find anything at Goodwill these days. I don't know what's going on with Goodwill. I don't know if they just get cleaned out a lot more. So I went to ARC and I bought like another $20 in yarn there, but I got like 7 full skeins, some big twist like full skeins with the label still on them. Because I made this blanket so wide, even though I still have a full drawer of yarn left for it, I'm worried that I'm not going to have enough. So I bought some more random yarn and bits and bobs and ends at the craft store, thrift store the other day. And I was really happy with my haul. And I'm sure I can, if I end up running out, I can continue to do that, run to thrift stores and get some more. I also have a few friends that have offered to send me their bits and bobs and ends from their skeins. So it'll take a village and we'll get it done. Bonbon says, your blanket is looking fabulous. Thank you, Bonbon. Oh, thank you, Dawn. Dawn says, right, Bonbon, I was just thinking the same thing. It's very pretty for something that came at a sad time in her life. It's beautiful. Thank you so much. Sandy says, Dawn, I like to think it's like a rebirth. Yes, exactly. Adam, and I love the idea of making something beautiful and tangible that will comfort me and also remind me to keep going, never give up, because that was the hardest part during all of that, is to understand this too shall pass. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but eventually. Bonbon says you can make scrap cakes and just crochet away. Let it change colors randomly. That's true. I could do that. Patty reminding everybody to give me a thumbs up. Thank you, Patty. Please do give me a thumbs up. I have a video coming out on... Debbie says, is there such thing as having enough yarn? Never. Never. I have a new video coming out on January 1st. 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. On January 1st, where it is a new video, but it's basically, I used the footage from one of my live streams where I unboxed some Ohuhu pastel alcohol ink markers. But, that's a 2.5 hour live stream, and I figure a lot of people might not have the time for that. So why not why not use the footage again, make a shorter version that's a little bit more consumable, digestible for people that don't have a lot of time. And so that's coming out on Monday. Not Monday. What am I saying? On the 1st, not Monday. Goodness. The words are all over the place, and I'm tangling up here with another ball of yarn. So on the 1st, that'll be coming out. And I don't know if I'll make another video this month. Like I said earlier in the stream, I'm hoping to get a compilation video out of my lunch notes for my husband. And if you haven't seen those, check out, I have a playlist that's labeled lunch notes for my husband. So if you haven't seen the lunch notes for my husband series, which are little notes that I slip into my husband's lunchbox to cheer him up. And a lot of the things are very cute and punny, kind of like the sushi art and sushi stickers that I just showed you. Please do check those out. So I'm thinking about making a compilation video of those for people that might not have seen the playlist and might not have caught them all. And I'm going to go live a few more times in January. I like doing this. I like going live to crochet and chat. So I think I'd like to do this at least once a month. I've already done it twice this month, so there you go. But I'd like to do this at least once a month and then try to do once a month a live where I actually draw or paint. But we'll see. That's ambitious. That's a lot of content. It gets to be a lot, guys. I do a fair I do a fair bit of editing for my work. Oops, I think I missed something here. Uh-oh. What did we screw up here? You know, it's a lot of work. It's a not to be all like, oh, poor me, but it is a lot of work to make content. And you know, I know that the trend right now is to just sort of pop your camera on and just start talking, but I don't make content that way. And that's hard for me to do that with art. I don't know if it's so much the perfectionist in me or if it's that, you know, people have short attention spans. And I have a hard time believing if I just sit there and paint in real time, people are going to be interested in watching that for long periods of time. It's a very slow process. It's a very slow process, and I'm often not talking during it. So 2, 3, 4, 5. I lost a stitch somewhere in here, I think. So it's, you know, it's hard to imagine that if I made, you know, actual just, let's just turn on the camera and start painting, that I would actually get a bunch of people interested in that. Where did I lose this stitch? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Interesting. Sorry, guys. I lost a stitch somewhere. I can't tell if I skipped 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Maybe it's there. Huh. The riveting crochet problems here. All right, somewhere along the way I lost a stitch, so we're gonna have to figure out 2, 3 how to put it back in there. What we're not going to do is frog it, because, and for those of you that don't know what frogging is, that's when you rip out a bunch of stitches, and because you rip it, it's like a frog saying ribbit, ribbit. I'm not frogging today. Oh, that's the problem. There's like a stitch here that, like, it's supposed to be 2, but it looks like 1. That's what's happening. So I'm going to have to make it 2. 1, 2, which is probably something that my fellow crocheters can relate to and are sitting there going, yep, I've had that happen. But other people are probably like, what is she saying? She's going to make a stitch? I don't know. I don't understand. It's okay. It's okay. You don't have to understand. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, that wasn't what I was supposed to do. Huh. Weird. There's that one. Huh. All right. Anyway, goodness, I'll figure it out eventually, guys. We'll get there in the end. We will get there in the end. Oh, yeah, Sandy, we enjoyed watching Bob Ross paint. We did, but Bob Ross worked very quickly. Bob Ross had a technique and a way of painting down pat that he knew exactly, like he could paint in 30 minutes and do a full painting. And so that is very exciting to watch. My painting would not go that quickly. The same painting that Bob would make would take me several hours to make, which is why when I make my content, I do a lot of time lapse and speeding up. I'm trying to do a little bit less of that and trying to slow stuff down a little bit more. I don't know. The whole attention span thing is really weird. I know that my attention span has been affected by social media and just not really feeling like I can, you know, pay attention to certain things for long periods of time. But I'm really struggling here with this. But I'm trying to I'm not interested in making the content that, I'm not interested, as I've said before, I'm not interested in like jumping through hoops to make content that the algorithm wants me to make, you know. Oh, sure, I could go and figure out a trend, so different trends, and follow those trends and probably be a lot more popular on YouTube than I am right now. But then I would have to constantly be chasing those trends. And I'd much rather my videos are kind of like my art. They're special to me. And I like the way that I make my videos. And I think if I keep doing them, eventually I'll get an audience. If I get monetization, whoo, yay. I'm not going to say no to that. Fantastic. Merry Christmas to me. I would be very, very happy about that. But I'm not looking to make YouTube an income stream, like a major income stream where like, my bread and butter, this is how I feed and water my seed. This is how I, pay my rent or my mortgage eventually when I can get a house someday. I'm wary of that. I feel like YouTube is fleeting. Social media is fleeting. You never know when they're just going to delete your channel or cancel you, or, the whole thing goes belly up. Well, it wasn't that long ago they completely shut down TikTok. Do you know how many people are making their entire living through TikTok and how devastating that was to them? I don't want to be in that position. But if it happened organically, that YouTube became a substantial income stream where I didn't have to put, an insane amount of effort into it. And like I said, jump through hoops and be somebody that I'm not, and, do a bunch of brand deals and start selling people a bunch of stuff. I'm not interested in, welcome to Candy Hearts Art, brought to you by Snickers, like, no thanks. No, thank you. Checking in with the chat. Carnivore Helix says, okay, been organizing the closet. Monstrosity, it looks great now. I guess Candy's live just had the right vibe for organizing. I had music on as well, but I've been watching her crochet. But oh, okay, I'm glad I could motivate. I'm glad I could be the background sound to you, organizing, Helix. Good organized space makes you feel pretty good. This room years ago used to be in shambles, and I know it looks like there's a lot of clutter behind me. It's just that I have a lot of stuff. This is actually pretty well organized. I know where everything is. Bonbon says your mistake could be in the previous row. I think it was in the previous row, and I figured out how to to fudge it, and I got through it. All righty. Well, moving right along. Footloose and fancy free. Is that the Muppets? Do you guys know? I think that's the Muppets. I love the Muppets. Who's your favorite Muppet? Let me know in the comments, in the chat, who your favorite Muppet is. I was always quite partial to Animal. Woman! And he'd play the drums and start screaming, woman! I like Gonzo a lot. In later years, I really like Pepe, the King Prawn. And if we're talking about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, if we're talking about Sesame Street Muppets, Grover, and Cookie Monster were always my jam. Also Ernie. I was really into Ernie too. And the Fraggles. Down at Fraggle Rock. I loved the Fraggles. I was such a sensitive kid. I was such a sensitive kid. So my mom, I don't know that, I think, well, she must have been we had cable for some reason. I don't know why we had cable. It was like new to us. Suddenly we had cable. My mom, when I was very young, she was a single young mother. She was very young when she had me. And suddenly we had cable. And back in the day, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, for those of you who are of the older set.
Is this the crochet pillow?
It is.
Do you want to open it on camera?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
I'm almost done, but thank you. My crochet pillow just came. I can't wait to open it up. But I will open it later because that's going to be a lot. I'm in the zone right now. We were waiting on a bunch of Amazon deliveries, and Joe's in the other room going crazy, bringing all the packages in, and saying Merry Christmas. So we got, I was probably like 6, 7 years old, and we got cable. And I'm sitting there watching Fraggle Rock. And I don't know if you guys remember, but back in the day, Fraggle Rock used to be on HBO, which was kind of tricky business to put a kid's show on HBO, because like then they had to put a bunch of warnings, like make sure you don't watch after this, because it's gonna be it's gonna be a movie that you can't watch right after Fraggle Rock, right? But I was watching Fraggle Rock one day, and there was just like, I was a really sensitive kid, guys. And there were those like giants in Fraggle Rock that, because the Fraggles were little people that lived in the rocks. And then there were these giants that lived outside. And there was one of the giants, it was a giant couple, and they had a son. And for some reason, the giant son was very sad. And he was singing a sad song. And he was so miserable, and he was so sad. And I was such a sensitive kid. I don't even remember what he was sad about, but I started bawling, and my mother comes running in, and she's like, "What is wrong?" And I'm just like, oh. I was an empath even then. I was crying over this creature made out of felt and yarn. I cried so hard. I don't even remember what he was suffering from. And it all turned out fine in the end. It was the Muppets, but goodness, I cried. I was always crying about something. I was sensitive. Sorry, checking out the chat. Hi, Donna. Donna says, hi, I'm new here. Donna from North Carolina. Welcome, Donna. Very nice to meet you. I'm Candy. Just working on my big, beautiful Ripple Scrapghan. And chatting away. I think, what time is it now? I'm going to stick around for another, I think, 15 minutes or so. And then we'll call it a night at that point. I think it'll soon be time. Well, I think, and then there'll be about an hour before a lot of our friends head over to Grandma's Crochet Corner. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Still good. Oh, hello. Let's see. Erin says, fun fact, the old guy from Fraggle Rock is also the bartender from the movie Boondock Saints. Oh my God, I think I remember that. I haven't seen Boondock Saints in years, but I remember that vaguely being like, my childhood, what are you doing? He can't be a bartender. You mean the old guy that like the Fraggles lived under his house, basically, right? Like the dude who had the dog Sprocket. Sherilyn, hi. You didn't miss it. Yeah, Fraggle Rock. The Muppets are a trip, guys. The Muppet Show was always really cool. One thing I didn't love, and I don't know if you guys ever saw it. I never watched it, but I think it was like 10 years ago, maybe more than that at this point. they did like a Muppet show, and I think they only got like one season or two seasons out of it. And it was kind of like almost like The Office, where they follow them around almost like a mockumentary. And they made it like too adult for my taste. Like Miss Piggy and Kermit got divorced, and like Kermit was dating like skanky little other skanky little pigs. And like, I don't know, it was just like it was just really weird for me. I don't know, maybe I'm just a purist and I was like, I can't deal with these like characters from my childhood playing out these like adult dramas, but I didn't really give it a chance. I didn't really watch it, so maybe that's just a me thing. But my favorite Muppets Christmas special is I think it's a 1987 one, where they all go to Fozzie's mother's house, and she was like gonna go away for she was like gonna go away for the winter, and I think she was like gonna go to the beach, and then he shows up with his like crazy band of misfit friends, and they've got so many people that show up at her house that like they have to have the penguins sleeping in there's penguins and they have to sleep in the bathtub, and um all of the crew from Sesame Street show up too. I remember really loving that one when I was a kid, and we rewatched it last year, and I was like, yeah, this was the good one, because we tried to watch the one with John Denver, which wasn't bad. I like John Denver, but the John Denver one was not as good in my opinion. Maybe just because like the John Denver one was like a few years before my time, and then the 1987 one, I would have been 6, so of course that would have been the height of me like loving Sesame Street and loving uh loving the Muppets. So maybe that's why the 1987 Christmas special was so dear to me. Um, and of course, the Muppet Christmas Carol with Michael Caine is really good. My sisters and I love that movie and would quote it all the time. My sisters are quite a bit younger than me, so they're 11 and 15 years younger than me. So they used to make me do all the voices and dance them around the house, pretending we were the characters. And what's interesting about that Muppets Christmas Carol, if you've ever seen it, and if not, maybe this isn't that interesting, but I watched I watched it with Joe last year. And like I said, I used to watch when it first came out. This was a yearly thing in my house. We would take the VHS. Remember VHS? We would take the VHS out of the Christmas movie bin that my mom would put it away every year because it was only a movie that we brought out at Christmas, and we would watch it from Thanksgiving until just after New Year's, and then we'd put it back in the bin with all the Christmas decorations and everything until next year. So I hadn't seen Muppet Christmas Carol in many years, and I watched it with Joe last year, and there was a whole chunk of the movie taken out. Not a whole chunk, but there's a whole song that Michael Caine sings in the middle, because Scrooge was supposed to have been in love with someone, but he was also so in love with advancing his business and money that he couldn't make enough time for her. And she was like, when are we going to get married? And he's like, once I squirrel away enough money. And so this was a sad memory. He goes back in time with the ghost of Christmas past, and she shows him like, this is, you had a chance at a great love and you gave it up because you were so greedy and selfish. And he and the woman sing this beautiful song about, love being lost, and it's very emotional. And I was sitting there watching the movie, and I'm telling Joe, oh, now the sad part comes up, and it completely blips over. And I was like, where the hell did it go? And I thought I had like a moment. I'm like, what? Did I imagine this? So I had to look it up. And they said that Disney took that piece, that song, out of the re-release of the movie. Like the DVD versions of the movie, because they thought it was too sad and it didn't fit well into the plot. And it was just really jarring for me because I was like, I don't know, I think it was a huge part of the plot. And so then I read that they put it back in years later, but I guess the version that I had downloaded was still the version without the song. And I was just like, this doesn't make any sense, especially because at the end of the movie, you know how at the end of a movie, like a musical, they will do like a medley of all the songs, kind of wrapping up every song you heard in the movie. They sing that melody at the end, and you're kind of like, well, if they didn't sing it in the middle of the movie, why are they singing it now? This song just came out of nowhere. Um, these are just wild things that pop through my head, guys. Uh, no real sense to them. Just me rambling about things that bother me. I was like, does that ever happen? And that's happened more than once. I've watched movies on cable. Um, I've watched like DVDs of movies that I had seen on cable or I had seen in theaters, and then the DVD was different, and or there was parts taken out, and I was like, what is going on here? It makes you feel like you're losing your mind. I'm like, I know this didn't happen. What happened here? Goodness gracious. Oh, let's see. My sister Emily is here. So sorry I'm late. The blanket is looking so good. Thank you so much. I'm only here for another 5 minutes or so, but I'm so glad you're here. My sister Emily is here. Did you miss it? I was just talking about no cheeses for us, Mises. I was just talking about Muppet Christmas Carol and all the Muppets. And I was talking about how they took out Scrooge's song where he like loses the love of his life. And Disney like omitted that song in future versions of the movie, and then they put it back in years later, but like in versions of the movie that were released between like a 10-year time frame or something, they didn't have that song included. But the version that we used to watch, that was like the original, because that movie came out like the year you were born, Emily, I think. The original had that song in it. And I was like, and I went and watched it with Joe last year. I downloaded it and watched it. And I was like, where the hell's the sad song in the middle of the movie? Because that's the whole point. Because then they cut back to Rizzo and Gonzo crying. Right? Rizzo's like, oh, because the girl just dumped Scrooge. And they didn't like explain why he was crying. And I was just sitting there like, so bizarre. Yeah, exactly. Crazy work. Emily, you got me saying crazy work now. It's part of my vocab now, babe. Part of my vocab. Ancient Aliens, Mike says the two guys in the upper deck and the chef were my favorite. Yes, Swedish Chef is also a favorite. First you take the mousey and then you skewer the mousey. Oh, he was great. I always loved the fact that he had human hands. It was like creepy but fun at the same time. And the is it Stadler and Waldorf? Are those the guys in the hecklers? I think that's their names. I think they're named after like old theaters or something, or old rich guys. Something like that. Or both. I mean, old theaters are probably named after old rich guys, am I right? Well, guys, this has been amazing. This is like, not to be like obsessed with the numbers or anything, but this is the most viewership I've had for a live since I started doing lives. And I started doing lives, I think, in early October. And at one point, I hit like 25 people in here at one point today. And that's a huge boost. I think the most I've hit so far before today was like 14. So thank you so much for coming in here and watching me ramble like a wackadoo. It's a pleasure for me to share my art with you guys. It's a pleasure for me to hang out with you guys. I hope that you find it fun and relaxing. I hope that you enjoyed yourself. I don't know, with me, what you see is what you get, you know? But I'm still sort of shocked and humbled and grateful that to find so many people enjoying my work, enjoying my presence, wanting to be around me. And, I'm an artist. I spend a lot of time at home alone. I don't have a lot, I don't have a lot of friends, whether by design or by coincidence. It's just, kind of hard for me to connect with people. So this is a really, really great way for me to be kind of social. It's a great outlet for me. It's a great way for me to share my life and what I'm making with people, because it can be very isolating to be an artist. So I appreciate each and every one of you for being here with me and for letting me ramble and for enjoying it and for accepting it. It's a really wild thing, YouTube, I'm, like I said before, I'm 44, so everything's changing so rapidly. And I never thought you'd get to a point where people just enjoy turning on YouTube and just watching people do things. And it's an interesting new world, like when you were a kid, if you're older, right? When you were a kid, did you ever think that you would turn on a TV and just watch somebody crocheting? Usually you would turn on TV and watch, Seinfeld or Cheers or Andy Griffith's show or, I Love Lucy or something, but it was something scripted, or it was the news, It wasn't just watching people do things. And then YouTube completely changed that, and social media completely changed that. And now we watch people just living. And it's really interesting. It's a new way to connect. And it's really special. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, luckily this pattern isn't so difficult that I can't keep rambling on and also hold my place and know where I am. But I'm gonna be basically crocheting on this all night, guys. This is what I'm doing tonight. Well, I'll go through my packages, all the packages that just came from Amazon. I got some Christmas stuff, and we got some gift cards and Christmas money, so we ordered a few things for ourselves and got a crochet pillow, a pillow to help me with my crochet so I don't have to use this thing. The crochet pillow is supposed to like wrap around you in a way. I don't know. I think it's going to be cool. I hope it's cool. I mean, I spent like $40 on it. It better be usable. It better not be a $40 cat bed is all I'm saying. That would suck if it turned into a $40 cat bed. In fact, I'm going to have to find a place to keep it so that it doesn't turn into a cat bed, because my cat likes to turn everything into a bed. Because why wouldn't she? 1, 2, 3. If I fits, I sits. Mochi doesn't really sleep on a lot of beds. We have a bed for him. I don't think he likes... My dog Mochi, for those of you who don't know, he's a 11-pound, 8-year-old Japanese Chin. So he's about a foot tall. I think he's about 12 inches tall. He's a little guy. But he doesn't like, and he's so sleepy. He's so tuckered out right now. He's very cozy. It's chilly out. I think that's why. But he doesn't like to sleep on like cushy, soft surfaces. So, like, I have a bed that's like a thin, not a thin, like a 2-inch mattress. It's for a big dog, but I got a big one in case like the cat and the dog want to sleep next to each other. He'll sit on it for a bit and chew on a toy for a minute, but he won't sleep on it. I think he likes to feel the the sturdiness of the floor beneath him. He'll sleep on the bed with us, and he's fine with that. But so I usually just fold up a few blankets on the floor for him, and he's very happy with that. That's what he likes. He likes his blankets. I've tried to get him beds, and then he'll sleep right next to it. And sometimes he'll put his head on it, but he won't lay on it. So, and then he has one bed, guys. TMI, it's his girlfriend. It's his girlfriend, so you can imagine what he does with that. We got him that bed when he was a baby, and he slept in it like twice when he was tiny. And now he's kind of too big for it, so the cat sleeps in it. And sometimes when he wants the bed to be his girlfriend, um, and the cat's sleeping in it, he'll go and nuzzle the cat out. And she just kind of looks at him like, "You're gross. Come on." I was asleep. He's like, "I need that. I need that, please." Luckily, that's his only girlfriend in the house. That's the only thing that he does that to. So we let him have his time. He is fixed. So, but we all have our things. So we'll let him have that. We'll let him have that. Well, I'm almost at the end of this. I know I said I was going to be done in 5 minutes, but I'm almost at the end of this row, and I would like to finish the row. So I'm going to just hang out and finish the row. And then I will call it a night. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Might do another row of this green after this row, and then I'm going to switch to another color. Don't want the green to overpower. Don't want the red to overpower because there's a lot of it. Those are the two that I have the biggest skeins. So we want to make sure that they don't overpower the piece. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. Doing it right, doing it right. All right, let's finish this up. Might be time for a snack too. I'm feeling a little bit hungry. A little bit hungry. One, two, three, four, 5, 6. Went on a beautiful walk today. It got much colder here in Colorado, but it's always sunny. It's always sunny in Colorado. Should have made that TV show. But it is. We get like 300 days of sun here, and we've actually last week we're having 70-degree days, which was wild. The winters have gotten much milder lately, the past few years. And we've had very little snow. Well, then it dropped like 20 degrees, 30 degrees. So today the high was only 40, which it's going to happen. I was enjoying my spring winter, but gotta have the cold come in, I guess. So I do live in the mountains. I don't live. I live in the front ranges, the foothills. So I'm not way up there. I'm about an hour north of Denver. But we definitely are still in the mountain. We're definitely still high up there with higher elevation here. But it's still very sunny. So even though it was 40 degrees today, it feels a lot nicer in the sun. Not like I grew up in Massachusetts, in Boston, and it's much damper there. It's a lot more dry here and less sun. So once you get the winter months, it is cold and dreary for a good long while. You need a light box. You need some vitamin D supplementation. My seasonal depression used to be really bad in Boston, and now it's not so bad. I start to feel it the last few years, right after 2, 3, 4, 5, right after Christmas, we start to get like a dip. And so in January, we'll start to actually see like the proper weather for this time of year. in the last year or so or two. Um, and I think last year we actually got a cold snap in December where we had a week of like 10 degrees, 10 to 20 degrees, but we didn't have that this year. But I'm sure it's coming for us. Um, and it's funny because then I'll start to get seasonal depression like at the end of January to like mid-February. Just like not true depression, just kind of like, oh. And then I have to check in with myself and go, what? Like it was literally 70 degrees like a month ago. Chill out. Like you haven't been in the deepest, darkest tundra for 6 months. It's been 2 weeks. Like settle down, But I'm spoiled here in Colorado with this beautiful weather. It's hard because you wish it could be like that for everyone. I wish everyone could experience the sunshine all the time. We'd probably be a lot happier as a species. We'd get more vitamin D, that's for sure. That's for dang sure. Well, I'm at the end of my row. Let's see. All right. I'm going to check in with the end of the chat here. Okay. Yep. My sister Marley and Marley. But yeah, that's their names. Helix says, there, I'm a mod now. Do you want to be a mod, Helix? Helix, do you want to be a mod? I'll make you a mod. I don't have a moderator. If you want to be a mod, you can be a mod. Just let me know. I might be covering my mic with my blanket. Gonna check out your playlist for the notes that you send your husband at lunch. Yes, please do, and let me know if you like them. I think there's like 13, 14 of them in there now. They're quite cute, if I do say so myself. Candy, the doggy painting, she loved it. We'll take a photo, put up. I feel bad. I looked up flowers you find here at beaches, so I painted thing is she hates yellow. I feel like changed the flowers before. Oh, yeah. I'm glad she liked the doggy, though. Debbie says, catch you later. Catch you later, Debbie. Nightbot doing its job. Thing is, she didn't say my daughter did, so it would be weird. It could be weird if I change them now. Oh, that's the struggle with things like that. I don't know. Just paint from your heart. It doesn't matter, I mean, I don't think it really matters that much, I mean, if she really hates yellow, maybe change the flowers a little bit. I don't know. I can't imagine hating a color. Like, there are certain colors I don't love, but I can't imagine hating a color. But I don't know. Let's see. JoJo said, enjoy your beautiful day and night all. Good night, JoJo. Gilbert ate a tater tot today, says Emily. Emily's new dog is Gilbert. Gilbert ate a tater tot today, Candy, and he continues the streak of loving every variation of potato. Well, of course, he is your son. I mean, yeah. I mean, he is our family. That dog is he is our blood. That dog is from us. Of course, he loves tater tots. Patty says, I enjoy your tidbits of historical info along with your arts. Thank you, Patty. Carnivore Helix, I was talking to you. Do you want to be a mod? I don't know if I'm ever going to need a mod. If you don't want to be, that's fine, but I can make you a mod if you want to be a mod. This was the first time I had this many people in here, but I would be happy to make you a mod if you want. It doesn't mean you have to be in here every time, and it doesn't mean you have to do anything. If I ever get so many people in here that I get spam and I don't see it, or I get trolls, you would have the ability to say, get the heck out of here, spam guy, troll guy. But if you want to be a mod, I would be happy to do that. but you also don't have to. So don't feel like you do. And you don't have to answer now. If you want to talk to me about it later, we can talk about it later. Or not at all. Whatever you want. Yeah, you don't have to do anything, Helix. It's just like if you see someone acting up in my chat, if I start to get more and more people in here and someone comes in and says something weird and I'm busy and can't kick them out myself, you do it. Hang on. Sorry, guys. This is weird. Managing moderator. Can manage blocked words and change chat modes in live. Also has capabilities of standard moderators. Standard moderator can review and remove chat messages, hide or put others in timeout. We'll do standard. There you go. Helix is now Helix. If you type in the chat now, you'll be blue like Nightbot. You'll be blue with a wrench like Nightbot. Well, guys, this has been super fun. I hope you guys had a good time too. I look forward to doing this again. I think next time I come on, I'm really going to try to just paint. I love crocheting and I love to share it with you guys, but I'm also not trying to just be a crochet channel. And I'm worried about doing too many crochet lives and enticing people to follow me thinking that I'm going to be making crochet content, and I'm not. I'm not going to be making videos and stuff where I crochet or teach crochet or make my own patterns or anything like that. So well, I can be cute again and put my glasses on. So yeah, so I mean, I think next I want to try to make a nice balance of sometimes doing crochet and chat, sometimes doing art. So I think next time I'm going to try to do a painting. So I hope that you'll join me for that. And painting is always fun. It's a little bit more, this time it would actually be a little bit more of an involved painting. So I might be a little bit more quiet, but hopefully watching the process would be exciting for y'all. Let's see. Ancient Alien says, woohoo. Emily says, love seeing the end. See you later. All right, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you had fun. I hope you had a chance to relax. And I hope that you'll come back and see me again really, really soon. Take care. Bye. Holy crap. It says I